Since the election, I've had to become very myopic in my focus and cut out things like the media and television to keep myself in a positive mindset. And I feel like something shifted with me during that time period, and I go from states of everything is working out for me to almost like an existential crisis. And my mortality has become very active in my vibration. I think about that a lot, and I don't want that to be my focus. And I want to shift that. That's really what I'm struggling with at the moment.
It's an interesting situation you mortals have put yourself in. And by that we mean just in deciding to be mortal, just deciding to be human, just deciding to be here with all of the variety that is necessary for you to focus and create your own reality, but also is challenging because focus is both to your advantage and your disadvantage. And so it's sort of like the controversy, even in what we call the gatherings that we're about, where we want to call this the science of deliberate creation because we want you to be deliberate in your never-ending discovery. And then we want to call it the art of allowing because we want you to relax and let in what you want. And so it's that constant refocusing and balancing of those two important aspects of what creation is all about. And so without the variety to choose from, you couldn't choose. But because of so much that's in the variety, it's sometimes difficult to maintain your balance. And that's why it's so important to come to the personal decision that balance is what matters. I don't want to ignore everything that's going on and not benefit from the bounce I get to take. In other words, when you know what you don't want, that's what activates the other end of the stick. Everything that exists in this ongoing, everlasting, eternal life, don't worry about your mortality. We get it, though. Everything about that is because of the contrast. So some days you'd like to just be without the contrast, and we want you to know that you couldn't be who you are without the contrast. And so what helps so much is when you come to the realization that you get to focus, it's who you are. You get to choose. You get to choose it all moment by moment by moment. You get to choose it. And that as you choose it, you get immediate feedback from your ongoing, longer point of view from your inner being. And so you get to choose. It's like this. If you sort of want something, then when you're focusing in opposition to it, it sort of bothers you. When you really want something, really, and you focus in opposition to it, it tears you up. And so you all have a day-to-day, really a moment-to-moment choice of how torn up you're wanting, willing, able to survive it, how torn up you're willing to be to take these bounces. In other words, some days you just want to go where only what you want to see is. That's very conditional living. And we get that. Another thing that's a sort of brain twister is that when you focus in ways that feel good, and you do it for a sustained amount of time, we're talking about you can get in the groove of that in a day or two or three, really, of really positive attraction. And then, because the law of attraction is so predictable and so valid and so accurate, that positive focus that you discovered and liked and therefore upheld and maintained brings you things you want, which then, of course, you want to notice. So, Abraham, am I supposed to notice the conditions or not? Well, yeah, but if you get in the habit of noticing the conditions so that you're really a conditional thinker, then you lose your magic of predominantly only attracting wonderful things. If you just become a noticer of things, then that's when you get all over the place. That's when your attraction power becomes chaotic. That's when you begin to feel stuck. And that's when you forget that you have the ability to focus. Another thing that we really want to say to you is that the law of attraction is your best friend and your worst enemy, in the sense that it is so actively responsive to what you've got going on. And so once you accept the predictability of this field of attraction, in the same way that you accept the predictability of the field of gravity, you don't defy it without really good resources and reasons for doing it. You don't usually jump off a cliff without a parachute or something that you can glide away on, because you understand the predictability of it. And so once you really internalize the predictability of the law of attraction, this is what we're leading up to. Sometimes it feels to you that you're not thinking your thoughts. It feels like your thoughts are thinking you. And the reason for that is because that's sort of kind of what is happening, in the sense that once you set it into motion, the law of attraction keeps it going. It's sort of like if you were really new to the planet, like little kids are. You know how they tumble and fall and bump their heads and do all kinds of things until they sort of figure out how they fit into all of this. But imagine that little kid not understanding momentum or inertia, and just being surprised that as he got into his little wooden, or whatever it is these days, cart, and began rolling down the hill, he could not stop it. He could not stop it, because the law of inertia and the law of gravity and the law of momentum are dominating his experience, no matter what he's thinking about it. He might be thinking, oh wow, I didn't mean to do this, but so what? He's on the way down the hill. And so it's like that with your thinking. It's like as you accept the laws of the universe and you understand your important place in it, that you are a chooser, a decider, a creator, and you understand that focus matters so much, and you get it, that you can be conditional for a while. Esther will say to herself, as she's basking in the magnificence of the things that her life has gathered up, and those words were specifically chosen, her life has gathered them up. In other words, she wants to give Jerry the credit for so much of it, because he set her on the path of it. It was his desire to know this stuff. Esther could not have cared less about any of it. She likes furniture. She likes the law of attraction. She does. And she really, really likes this work. But she wasn't rabid about it like Jerry was. And so often she wants to give Jerry the credit, or Abraham the credit, or you all the credit. So that's why she found, as we offer through the vibration, the way her life has become, it's hard really to accurately find your place in it, because you just sort of set things in motion, and then the law of attraction takes over. And so the big thing that you are doing is recognizing where you are within what you have set in motion, and understanding that only you can change the direction of that motion. And when you take ownership of all of that, I chose to come, I knew about the laws, I now know about the laws, I know about my guidance system, I know what these thoughts net and these thoughts net, I know what comes to me through the portals of the emotional place that I choose and practice, the beliefs I establish and the beliefs that I hold to, and the beliefs that I replace with beliefs that work better for me. It's just the most magnificent opportunity, better than a creator with your hands in any kind of medium, any clay or anything, to be able to paint the tapestry of your own life experience through your knowledge of focus. It just doesn't get any better than that. And then, to be human and mortal and physical, and get to then experience the manifestations, the thoughts turning to things, the thoughts turning to things. There's nothing being trucked in here. You had an earth and some water and some dirt, and that's about it, and some seeds in the dirt, and then you all showed up. We're making fun and being ridiculously simplistic, but nothing tangible is being trucked in from other planets. There's not some pipeline where the oil is coming from or the water is coming from. It's here. And it is the thoughts you think that cause what's here to become more and more and more and more and more. And so, it's so fun playing with you and hearing you and witnessing you coming into your own reemergence or rebirth or realization of the power of your own mind. Now we want to all of a sudden change that word power to pleasure. of your own mind, the fantastic pleasure of you getting to sift and sort and feel and conclude and prefer and decide and focus and then receive the benefit of it. And so we get it. None of you felt valiant when you decided to come, because none of you planned on getting swept up in the pushing against society. None of you intended to do that. All of you, instead of protesting, you intended to be advocates, because you know how this whole system is set up. You know that as you sift and sort and choose and prefer, that's what you set into motion, and that's what everything that is non-physical focuses on, is your choices that make your heart sing. That's why you don't have to worry about your destruction. It can't be. You know why? It's zzz. You don't have to worry about that. The well-being is so dominant. You just got to focus there. And we know you live in societies around this planet that if you're focused that positively, there are many who criticize you because they think that unless you're suffering hard like they are, then you're not contributing to society. And we just want to ask you, what part of the society do you want to contribute to? We'd encourage you to dance with the children and frolic with the dogs and gaze at the stars and listen to the music and do everything and anything that you can do to make your heart sing as often as you can, because you already did step one. You did the work. You've created a vortex that is on the brink of manifesting into your experience, and it can manifest any number of things. It can also manifest ideas. It is the manifester of emotions. Your emotions are the first thing that you manifest that is the slightest bit tangible. In other words, turning thoughts to things, the first thing that happens in the manifestation process is that the thought turns to a thing that you call an emotion. That's the first sign of the manifestation that you get. And so when you get that pit in your stomach, that first sign, it's not too late to withdraw your attention from it and give your attention somewhere else and create the momentum on something that feels better. Okay?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Really good.